Hi, this is Susan. We're making the Russell Stover candy box. And you're going to need cardstock. And I'll go through the pieces of what you need and how to make it. So we want to start out with talking about the box. It's really important. The main objective is that the top fits over and closes over the bottom. Besides it just being adorably cute and pretty, that's the main objective. The top needs to be bigger than the bottom so that it closes. And you have to consider you have a ribbon and a cardstock piece. Okay? Main objective. Okay, so let's go through, while you look at how cute this is, let's go through the pieces. Now I'm going to show you the pieces for this one, but then we'll talk about other pieces. Now you have a red rose that's on top. And you have the red piece that's behind all of it. That's your fabric. Now, there is floral. This is satin, but there is a floral ribbon. And I'll show you some of that. And then you've got this small ribbon that's your side pieces. See the side pieces here? That goes over your cardstock on the sides of both the top and the bottom. And then you have your lace. Now this lace just turned out to be just what was needed because it has the top section and it has the fluted edge. And you'll see here, there's the top section. And then down here is the fluted pieces that you cut in segments and go around and overlap each other. And a lot of times this top segment here is underneath, like I'm going to show you an example. It's underneath the netting. See, in this lace, I pulled away the netting and you can see that top is underneath it. So go through your laces, look and see which one you have, because that's real important. Now, if you don't have it, you can certainly use some little braid or gold twine or whatever you have. You're not, going to have to be doing it this color scheme. It might be that you want to try it with what you have at home first and then go buy stuff, but, do it that way. Now, it's important that you get 4 millimeter because this is your sidewall. This has to be 4 millimeter. Any skinnier ribbon is going to show all the cardstock. So that's important too. And I can tell you the amounts that I measured, but really if you make a mistake and you need extra, you might just want to get, a little bit more. But I have 1 inch of the lace, or 6 inches, 6 inches of the lace. And that's this lace, this ruffle. And I have 8 inches of the 4 millimeter trim ribbon. And I have 1.5 by 1.5. But I would definitely get more of this because when I was gluing it, practicing it last night, the glue makes mistakes. So you might make mistakes with your glue, with what glue you use. Now this good news is you only need 1 of these. So that's good news. So and then here's all my candy stuff. Let me see if I can bring it in. And the best way to get this is if you're going to make it out of polymer clay, is just do a grid, and that way each piece is the same size, and then just cut them. Now I made brownie here or something, and I put, looks like I made the grid and put a little fingernail polish, clear fingernail polish over it. But if you do a grid, then all your pieces will be the same. And then, you know, cut them up and roll them, and then bake them. And here you're going to have to eat some candy. I'm sorry. You're going to have some candy because you need the foil. There's dove is silver on one side and gold on the other. And then somewhere I found, now we're talking, this is Hershey's here, purple. And somewhere I found some gold. And these are the little bags, the little paper bags. You don't have to put those into your, you could actually just put the brown piece, solid piece, you know, around the base, the bottom, so it just looks like it's there, you know, put the whole piece in. You can put the little cups if you want to put the cups. You can punch them out of a, you know, this big round punch. You can slip that underneath there and punch them out. And so some of your pieces, you'll just want to roll up some of your foil to make it look like you've got the special pieces in there. So anyway, that's, you can have light and dark chocolate. However you want to do your chocolates is up to you. Okay, I wanted to show you some options. You might have this in your stash. Now here's some little sparkles, so it's like less traditional, more sparkly. You'll need a little bit more of this because it looks like it. You'll use this section, then you have to skip over to this section, but you've got one back here, so you have to skip around on that piece. And of course you've got the gold that would rosette. There's a smaller gold rosette. Here's a pink rosette, that sweet pink, and here's a big white flower. That'd be pretty on a bigger box too. Or if you're doing Barbie size. Now this is floral ribbon. And it's, I don't know, it's thinner and it doesn't seem to ravel as much. But it's, I saw it that it matches the pink rose. And I got this ages ago. This project, let me tell you, this is from 25 years ago. So it's taken me 3 nights of working on this to try to organize it so I could teach it to you, because I've had to remember it and then make it. And so anyway, oh, peppercorn. I did see, I thought a piece that I had was made with peppercorns, but I think they kind of get shriveled up. But you could, if you're desperate for what to put in it, you could try peppercorn. Just look in your kitchen for stuff. So anyway, get your cardstock out. And this is just a, you know, a real thin piece. You're going to, when you glue your side ribbon, that kind of helps stabilize it. And so let's go over the pieces. Let me make sure you can see everything while I'm talking about it. Okay, so what we have is you have a fabric piece, one of those. See a fabric piece here. So you have one fabric piece, fabric top, or just one fabric piece. And then you have a top, and you have a bottom. Then if you notice, this is a little smaller. It's the liner to the top, because the top is bigger than the bottom. Whoops, top, bigger than the bottom. Then you have a liner in the bottom that's going to be under the chocolates. And the purpose of the liners, let me just show you generally the purpose, is when you put those sidewalls on, see how you snip and you ease that in to the curve of the heart. You want to cover that up. That's not very pretty. So that's the purpose of the liners. So you have a top liner and a bottom liner. Again, okay, let me set this out here so you can maybe do a screenshot of it. Can you see that? To do a screenshot. Okay, the side pieces, are a 1/4 inch in width. Both the top and the bottom are a 1/4 inch. The top needs to be bigger than the bottom, so it is 3/4, 3 and 1/4 inch. Sorry, 3 and 1/4 inch plus 1/16. Make sure you add that 1/16 in. 3 1/4 plus 1/16. Now the bottom is a 1/4 inch wide. It's 3 1/4 minus 1/16. That makes it smaller, and it has to be smaller for the top to fit over the bottom. So that's 3 1/4 minus 1/16. So let me show that to you, just so you make sure you get this. There is the 3 1/4, and there's the 1/16. The top must be bigger than the bottom. Okay, so there's the 3 1/4. Well, let's get it straight. Okay, there's the 3 1/4 minus the 1/16. See, it's minus that little 1/16 right there. Okay, you just cut one of each one of these. If you want to cut more, just because you think you might need it. I did a rough of this after 25 years. It went on fine. It's not a hard thing at all to make. It's just kind of hard to explain it. Okay, so you've got that. You realize that, let me tell you one thing. This top and these two bottoms, these 3 pieces are all the same. This one's the next size down, and this one's the smaller. And so I'll show you how we get to those. First, we have to make our first heart. So here's what I did to make the very first heart. Really simple. You make a 1-inch square. It's 1-inch square. 1 inch all the way around. Draw that out. Then at your bottom right there, come up 5/8 inch and put a mark. And you're doing a 5/8 inch square, a 5/8 inch square inside of that. At this point, at the lower point. Now, then mark your midpoint. Take your pencil, mark your midpoint. Well, I guess you need to draw across here. That's 1 inch. And draw across here 1 inch. And then mark your midpoint. Okay, I'm not going to say what that looks like. But then you do your hump. See? The reason for doing this is to get your humps the same. Okay, and if you're not sure they're the same, when you cut this out, you can always, put it on a piece of paper, or you can always ink this dark and then trace it on a piece of copy paper, and then, you just cut it out and fold it over and see that they're the same. Just to make sure that your pieces, because this is your starting point. So these need to be the same shape and the same size. Okay, so let's go over that again. A 1-inch square, a 5-inch square, down here at this tip of, you're drawing this at an angle, and then you're going to come across here, draw across, and draw across, find your midpoint, and then do your hump over that, and then cut it out. And at this point, like I said, if you want to do this in ink, black ink, so that you could trace it out, then you can trace it, and cut it out and fold it to see that it all matches, and then that would be your template. So, is that clear? I hope that's clear. And send me any comments if that's not clear to you. Okay, this is your starting point. So this is where you're going to get what size fabric you need, what size top and bottom, and then later I'll show you now how to get these two: inside top liner, inside bottom liner. And then you saw how to do these side walls. Okay, so let's look at this. This again is your top fabric piece, and you've got your walls that you'll cover. You first make them in cardstock, then you're going to make them with the ribbon over them, and then you put your liner, you'll put your liner in last to cover your work. So here you've got your first heart, your bottom piece. Now this shows, it's odd, this shows a red trace, red back here. I don't know if that was a mistake in the original making, or if we cut two red satin pieces. I don't see any point in it because you don't see it really through the lace. The lace is there, but you can add a second red piece. But see, your liner is underneath the chocolates that covers your work. So I don't really see the point of the red. But if you want to put it in there, I kind of see a trace of it right here. See that tiny bit of the red? That would mean you would cut two of the fabrics. That just may have been a mistake. But I don't have this written down. I'm just going by what it looks like. Okay, so let's talk about when we glue this up. Okay, so I cut out a few of these last night to see what glue to recommend for your. This is really a template. You're not actually gluing, because you get glue on your fingers and put it onto the satin, and then your satin would be ruined. So you're going to wait on the satin. But do you see this, like, looks like speckles? Okay, that was where I put Aleene's tacky glue. I covered the whole piece, so don't do that. And then I tried it with the Fabri-Tac, which my Fabri-Tac has gotten real gummy, so it's great on sticking to everything. But it was smudgy, and then I was working it, and then I ended up messing up the fabric. So don't overwork the fabric. You just need to put the slightest bit of glue. If you choose tacky glue or Fabri-Tac, whichever, you're not going to put but just a hint. You're just going to go, and I would do it from the outside, just the slightest hint of glue around the outside, and then one dot, just one dot right there, because we don't want the rose to fall off, pull away because of the weight of it. One dot, and that'll be enough glue for it to hold. And don't put it all over it, because then you'll end up with this odd looking, spotty look, and you don't want to mess up your satin that way. Okay, so the first thing, let me see. Okay, the first thing we're going to do is mark. We're going to make these pieces, the top and the bottom pieces that are on this card. We're going to measure those out and cut them out. So go ahead and get your cardstock and draw those. The top, now I've already done them. So the top is 3 1/4 plus a 1/16 of an inch. And then the bottom is 3 1/4 minus 1/16. And they're both 1/4 inch wide. Okay, the next step is we're going to score those. Now I'm using a needle thing to score them. So, if I can. Now, let me explain why. Let me just go ahead and explain why this is marked where it's marked. When you put your line there, oh yeah, you need to put your line there across for where you're scoring. So the reason for your score line is this ribbon, the 4mm ribbon. Now see on this piece, the 4mm ribbon covers it up. So that's where you're scoring. See, it covers it up. So that's your score. So when you're drawing out where your line should be, put it just on the other side of your 4mm ribbon. That's why it's important to use 4mm. Any skinnier, then you wouldn't have enough room for your chocolates because your sides wouldn't come up very high. So this makes it just enough room. Okay, so you draw that. That's your ribbon will tell you just where to put the score line. And then we're going to fold that. Okay, so we take both pieces, put the ruler to them, hold it down real tight, and go over it. Don't use a knife or anything. You don't want to cut it. You're just scoring. That was my top. Now I'm doing my bottom. Get on that line. Okay. So now we're going to fold these. Now I've written everything on this. You're not writing this on here. You might want to put a T for the top so you keep it straight. But you don't want that showing on anything. So you don't need to write all that down on there. Just put a T or lightly top and lightly bottom, because they are different sizes. Okay, so we're working with our top first. Now I'm going gently. So just go down it gently with your score line to bend it. Okay, so you've got it bent over. See? Okay, we do our bottom the same. So we'll have it ready. Just gently. If you didn't put enough pressure, just go back and, score it a little bit more. Okay, so see, it's bent. Okay, so now you take your little scissors. Now, if you have cuticle scissors, that might be the best little scissors. I did okay with these because they have a small, these are Fiskars, and they have a small enough tip. Okay, not the top part where you measured your ribbon, but the smaller part. Make sure, if you need to hold your ribbon up there, make sure we're not going on the ribbon side. Now you might want to mark the ribbon side. That's the ribbon side. And this is a little bit smaller down on this side. We're putting teeth. Well, first, okay, I'm sorry. First, we're going to find the midpoint. And then we're going to cut teeth in it to make it ease. Okay, so find the midpoint and fold that. Okay, so there's the midpoint. And if this gets too floppy, you may need to cut it again. Let's find the midpoint. Okay, just put a crease in it. Okay, the reason for that, okay, I'm going to refer to my piece. that I made. I'm going to pull the liner out of it. See the liners in it? I'm going to pull the liner out. Show you again. Okay, so we're taking the top piece. We've marked top. And we're going to put this around it. So get our top piece. That's our bottom. So here's our top. And it's going to go from this point around. And so it's important that that crease meets right at this point here. That's what you're working with. Okay, so let's put the teeth in it first. And I snip to the fold line about between a 1/16 and a 2/16 inch. Just put teeth in it so that you can ease it around the heart. Snip it at the fold and just keep going. Okay, so decide now what glue you want to use. Now see, this looks like it's got all these little teeth in it. And take your glue and see how you're going to glue the piece at the edge so that see how the teeth are all round in there? Okay, so take your glue and go around your edge. You might want to do less, work one side, but I'm doing it both because I've got to stick down that where the fold line is. And then I'll come back and add some more on the other side. Okay, it's got to go at the very top. That crease. And now I noticed that my Aleene's kind of dried up real quick. Now you decide, which of your glues is going to give you a little play. Now this needs to go to the outer edge because the top is bigger than the bottom. When we do the bottom, it'll come in. Now see, it's got to go to that point and stick. So we're just going to work with it until it grabs a little bit. Make sure that your point, you got it at your, oops, came off my point. Okay, make sure you've got it even at your point, and then it's rounded out with your curve. Gosh, it went on easier last night. It's because I'm in front of the camera. Okay, so see, you're just easing it in. Use your nail or tool, whatever you have. And then when the glue's starting to set up, work real fast. Work real fast getting it in place. Check it from this side. Oops, it came off. Okay, so check it from this side. Make sure that it's all the way around. Okay, so it grabbed. So now we're kind of getting the idea of how fast it's going to grab, how fast we have to go. Okay, so now let's put the glue on the other side and do the same thing. Now the good news is the ribbon will go in the reverse direction. Well, I guess I didn't get enough glue. Glue a little bit more there. So that came up. So stick that down again. Okay, so now we're going around on the other side. Got to get it at the point. If you can hold it there with your finger while you push it in place. But the ribbon's going to go from the opposite direction than what we put the paper on. So it will fill in any gap, that small gap that you might have. It's going to cover it over at the tip, down here, the tip, if there's a little bit of a gap. Okay, so while the glue's starting to set up, we're looking at checking it all. Seeing that it all is fitting from both sides. Okay. Do you get it? And I have big hands. I have very big hands. I'm almost 6 foot. So I have big hands. So I'm sure you're going to do fine. Because I do struggle with my miniatures with my big hands. So if you have smaller hands, you should do fine. Okay. The ribbon. Now the ribbon's going the opposite direction. So see if there's a little gap there. The ribbon will tighten it up when we put that on. Okay, I've already showed you. Okay, I'm showing you the top. So you're going to do the bottom the same way. Here's my bottom piece. And it's the same. So instead of me just showing you again, just do the same thing. Now the difference in the bottom piece is going to gap. Let's see if it gaps at the same. Or it gaps. No, the bottom piece gaps at the top. Okay, so the top piece, we gapped it here at the bottom. We brought it together at the bottom on the top piece. Okay, on the bottom piece, do it with the gap at the top. And the reason for this is just kind of the ribbon's going to strengthen everything, but it's so that it will be perfectly rounded so they fit together. It just tightens, pulls it all together and tightens it up. So this, when you're doing your bottom, now it's smaller. You must make your bottom smaller. See, it has to be smaller so it will fit. When you put your paper in, you've got a little edge. So you can't have any gap. You've got to have it fit within your your bottom piece. It must fit within this piece. And remember, it's a 1/16 of an inch smaller. And you can see by looking at them, it does look a little bit smaller. This is my bottom, this is my top. And they go together with the ribbon on them just fine. That's what you're shooting for. Okay, so as soon as you have your top and your bottom, then go ahead and put your ribbon on. But do your ribbon, this is my top, the top that we just made. glue this starting down here at the gap. And put the ribbon across that gap. If you want to start it up here, you can do that, if that makes sense. Start it up here, but just make sure you cover that as you go around. So we'll just go ahead and do that, because the top and the bottom are the same. It's just the bottom needs to be, that piece is 1/16 of an inch smaller. So you need to make sure that it fits within that bottom heart. And there's no gap in it, because a gap would make it bigger. We don't want it bigger. The top needs to be the bigger. I know I keep saying that, but I just think it's so important. Okay, when you go to put your ribbon on, look and see which side you think is the right side. And start with the, make sure it's cut straight across. And then start gluing that around. Try to keep your glue fingers off of it as best you can. Might have a wet wipe. Okay, so this is where you're going to pull this. If you have any gap at all, you're going to pull it together with the ribbon. And pull the ribbon closer to its top as you go around. Now, because this is a top, you will have the lace to help hide stuff. But try to make it close up to the top, because you can snip away some of this that might stick up. So just try to get it looking good and even. We're shooting for even. Okay, so there we're back at the top. Now you can overlap if you want, or underlap. If you want to underlap, that's up to you. But I'm just going to try to make it fit. Now, if you're having trouble with this, you could always color this with a red Sharpie or something. You could go around and color it before you put the ribbon on, just so the ribbon, you might want to do that. You might want to go around. If you don't like this white edge, you've got two choices. You can snip along it with your smallest little scissors. I did that last night. I snipped a little bit of it away. These scissors don't work. They're too big. Because you can't see the direction that you're cutting. But, so you can snip away a little bit if you want. If you don't like that. Or in the beginning you can use, red paper, or go with a Sharpie marker around there and do that red before you glue on your ribbon. If you'll just make a note of that. I'm going to snip this off and use this piece. Okay, so here we've got the ribbon. Now you've done the bottom by, I did the top with you. Now you've done the bottom, and you're going to put the ribbon on it, and you're going to reverse it. Don't forget to reverse. So your cardstock was reversed from the top. It started at the top of the box instead of the bottom of the box. And you went around. Now your ribbon is going to start at the bottom of the box and go over that gap and come back and meet. So you're just reversing. You're reversing from the top to the bottom, and you're reversing the cardstock from the ribbon. Just remember reverse. Okay, so by now, this is the test. If something went wrong here and your top and your bottom don't work together, then you have to choose which one you're going to make over. So look at the pieces and decide, I didn't come in enough on the bottom, or I came in too much on the top. This is what you decide for yourself which one you want to do over. Luckily, mine went together the first try, so I'm hoping yours will too. See, they just go together with the ribbon. So that's what we're shooting for. And then if all goes well, now we put this top on. So we're going to take the fabric top piece and lay it over your piece of ribbon. Don't glue it on there. Well, you could if you felt uncomfortable about, if you thought it was going to move around. I guess you could layer it. But remember, you've got to just glue the outside, just the tiniest bit. But I didn't have a problem, and this is fraying, but just go real slow and hold it. Hold it real good while you cut this out. And, you know, cut away what you need to cut away as you go, but just do little snips. Your cuticle scissors might work better than even this. You know, you could cut away like a piece if it's in the way. And go over here and cut a piece. And then cut away this piece. And then work this. I'm sorry, I went off camera. Then work, you know, cut away whatever you need to cut away. Then work on getting into this. Oh, it's still attached. Okay. Don't cut your cardstock. Just snip things away. You can clean it up even better once it's cut out in general. Just go real slow and gentle. Okay? So there we go. Doesn't have to be perfect. You do have this trim going around it. Okay, so you've got your, let's see. This is my top. It says top. I haven't put the liner in it yet, so I've got top written there. So now I'm going to glue this to the top. Okay, now remember, this is so important. You've got to just barely go along the edge, or it'll get all spotty on that satin or whatever you use. Just put the tiniest bit along the edge, and it can't be any wider than what that white trim is going to be. No excessive glue use. Keep it to a little bit. And some people, you might prefer to put it on with a toothpick. Take your time. Okay? And then one dot where the rose goes, so that it'll hold the rose. Get the side that's the right side, the shiny side. Make sure, you know, clean your hands. If your hands have glue on them, don't touch your satin before. Okay, so go slow about putting this in place, because you don't want to rough it up trying to move it around too much. Got some glue. You'll be able to move it just a little bit. Well, here I am. I'm moving it all around. Just a little bit. Now this, see, it's showing the white here, but that's okay because it's going to have that little ribbon on it. You see it's showing the glue right through it. And that's what we're trying to keep it from showing it anywhere else. But where the rose is going to go. Speaking of the rose, let's take the rose and put some glue on it. We got to cut the wire off of it. And I think when we do that, you want to hold the rose really well. I didn't go past this point last night. Now, you might want to use, tougher scissors than your... And I'm going to cut that off while I'm holding this. And I'm going to glue to keep that rose from coming apart. I'm going to try to glue that. There's paper there. There's... If y'all don't have this needle tool, this is just the best tool in the world. This is, I guess, next to scissors, this is my favorite tool. I was making a bow last night, and I couldn't have done it without this needle tool. Okay, so I'm going to set that down, rose side down, and just let that glue kind of hold it for when we're ready for it. Get it out of the way so I don't, whoops, so I don't get that glue on anything. Okay, so the next part of this is taking this, has to be cut away, the top from the bottom. You've got to kind of get the netting part cut away. You might want to trim this up. Make sure there's not any extra netting, whatever you're going to use. And then go and cut these little pieces. Cut them in sections. The curve, I'm sorry, I can't see past the camera. Okay, so cut these little sections. There's one section. Here's another section. They're going to overlap. They won't show because they're going to be overlapped. There's another section. So the little scallop, just cut them. Make yourself a little pile. Now at this point, you might want to clean off, where you clean off your little area where you've got the satin. I'm going to get rid of that. Okay, so let's see how it's got a little bit of the netting. So you need to trim that. Just get rid of the netting. Oops. Okay, start with the flat end. And now we're going to go with a tiny bit of glue around the top, just the same way that we did with putting the satin on. Just the tiniest bit. And you might not want to put it all at once. You might just want to do a section at a time, if that helps you control it. And decide, which side you want your front, which side you want. It seems like one's a little rougher edge and one's a little smoother edge. And it looks like I did the rougher edge to the inside and the smoother edge to the outside. See, didn't get quite enough there. Whoops. Oop. Okay. Well, see, got a little bit of glue there. What you gonna do? At this point, you should start to feel relief. You're getting this, you're finally getting the pretty stuff on. If you glue from the outside, I think it helps to turn your piece, and glue from the outside. It makes for less glue. And you might have to go over, but it's better to have less than it is to have too much. It's like I didn't get enough here, but it's better to put a little bit extra on, a little more on than to get it on the satin. Okay, watch your fingers that you don't have glue on them. Tap down. You're going to make a big turn here. So tap it in place. Work it. Try to keep the glue from spreading. Take your time. Keep the glue off your fingers. Well, I'm struggling here. It might be also that you need to cut this tip and then overlap it. I have a new bottle of glue, and that may be that it's, it gets gummier as you go, as you use it. I'm going to look at the original and see. No, it managed. I don't think it's matched. It's cut there, but if you're having trouble, just snip it and overlap it. Or hold it till it can grab. But I'm going to snip it. It doesn't want to seem to. That helped to snip it right there at the point. I didn't snip all the way through. I just snipped from the top just a little bit, and it helped it to overlap a little. Now, the thing about making this box is once you do this, and you get the whole concept, this will help you make other boxes for lingerie, other pieces. You can make rectangle boxes and decorate them. You could put hankies in them. or put some little nylon, just whatever you want, like a dress shop kind of looking nice box. And you can set the box on your bed, in your dollhouse, or it'll look good. I'll show you one. Now, unfortunately, I got a little bit of glue right there, but if you go slow, then, you know, you'll do better. I feel like I'm kind of rushed before the camera, but now just fix it up. I just need a tiny tip of glue. Let me see what I can put it on. I'll put it on my finger. I just need the tiniest bit. Underneath there. Okay, so I hope you did even better than me. Kind of pulling it. Okay, so that's I think that's the more difficult part, because it's very thin, and your glue has to stay, you know, just so small. So if you did get on this, good for you. You got it. You can make more. Okay, so now on the top, we've got a little bit of lace back behind before we put the rose on. So if you had any littler pieces, grab them, or make some littler pieces, or use another kind of ribbon that you might have. I'm just going to cut a section to be smaller pieces. Oops, yes I am. And then just take those around. Okay, put a glue dot right in the middle. And probably be a good idea to use tweezers. At this point. See what I'm doing here? Tap it down. There you go. Now we're going to put the rosette on it. You might want to take a little bit of time, let that set. Oops, I moved it. That's why I say it'd probably be better to let it set for a minute and really grab the glue before you put another layer. Well, all I'm doing is moving it around. Okay. Every time I touch it, it's just moving it around. Okay. I should have just let it Let it be when I had it. Okay. I definitely say let this sit. Okay, so we got the little rose. I'm gonna put some glue on it. Hopefully we can cut the nuff off. I don't know though. Looks like it could be cut even more than what I cut. Push it, smush it down and see. Maybe I need to cut a little bit more off of it. But just hold it so it doesn't go to pieces. You might rather, put this on with a toothpick. The glue. Putting your rose on. See this? I didn't let my lace sit up. Darn, darn, darn. The lace is still moving around. It's better to have that, glue that's, like I said, this is a new bottle. It's better to have an old bottle in a lot of things. Okay. So there's my rose. There's the original. Let's see. How'd we do? Did pretty good. Now, if you notice that they don't look the same, this one's kind of contoured more and this one's kind of rounded more. And it doesn't matter just as long as the top goes over the bottom. That's all your goal is, it's pretty, but it's just got to be functional too. Okay. So now we'll set that aside. And the bottom, okay, this is what I made last night. We need to cut out the liners. So we have a top and a bottom, and they need liners in them. I'm going to put the original aside because I don't want it to get mixed up with the other pieces since those fit together. Okay, we have a bottom liner and we have a top liner. Okay, so here's the top liner. Because on the top, you've got the cardstock. That you don't have to worry about the ribbon. It's on the outside. You just have the cardstock on the inside going around your heart. So you just need to cut enough off of your original piece so that it'll fit the inside to be your liner. And so how I did that was I just drew a line, just a small line around the edge of my original heart. See my original heart? I just took an original first cut and drew a line around it. See, that's the original cut. And I drew a line around it, and I'm going to cut on that line. And that'll end up being my liner for the top. Okay? So just draw your pencil on there. Just inside. Because all you're needing is just to cut away cardstock. Just the width of a cardstock. And mark what this is on one side lightly so that you keep your top straight from your bottom. Okay. Now we're going to use the good side. And looky there. It fits. There's your liner. Covers up your work. Well, that's the original. So this is drying, this is setting up. So I really don't want to turn this over because the rows will fall off. See, it's not even begun to set up. But that's the piece that should go in there. But for the sake of filming, I'm just going to set it over here. Okay, so let's do our bottom piece. Now our bottom piece, let's look at the original card that I made. You started with a regular size piece. It needs to be a little wider because it has the cardstock and it has the ribbon. And see, there's the top liner, and this one is that much smaller. What you just cut off for the top, you need to cut off again as much for the bottom because there's two layers. There's the outside, there's this piece, and then there's also the ribbon that went over this piece. So that makes it smaller. That makes it smaller than the top liner. So you make the line around it bigger. I hope that makes sense. You'll find out if it doesn't fit, if it's too big, then just go back and cut some off of it. Okay, there we go. So this is my bottom. It has the ribbon around it, and there's the liner. Now this one's a little loose. This one that I made last night, it turned out a little bigger. It looks the same, but for some reason it turned out just a little bit bigger. So I'm going to have to add a piece. Now I'm going to go ahead and glue these liners in. This is my top liner. Try not to get glue on your ribbon and glue that in place. Okay, do the same for your bottom. You can put the glue inside. You can put it wherever you want. Okay. Top to bottom fits. We saw that it fit. So now we need to work. We've done the flower. We've got finished with the top. We just glued in the liner. So the bottom, on this one that I made, because it turned out a little bit bigger, there wasn't room around, there wasn't any excess around here. So look and see if your bottom has any excess around it, because we need a little bit of a lip, just the slightest bit of a lip to put the lace on. See? So I cut another heart out, and this is my original heart size. And see, it's just a slight bit bigger. Can you see that on camera? It's a slight bit bigger. So I would have a lip to put the lace on. I don't know why this turned out where it didn't have it. I didn't come in enough. I came out too much on the top and made it bigger, and then I guess they fit together fine. So anyway, this is the fix. Is just go around another little heart and give yourself enough of a lip, and then glue that on. So I'm going to glue one that doesn't have writing on it. Don't go to the edge because you are going to put ribbon on it around the edge, but okay, let that set a little bit. And then cut your pieces. If you've used up pieces, then cut some more. And have enough pieces to go around your outer edge in a little pile. Clear away anything that you're not working with. Snip your little pieces. Make sure you have enough to go all the way around and overlap slightly. Okay. So now I would say we want to use a toothpick or something. Let's see. I need a piece of paper. I'm going to get a piece of paper with some glue. Because I don't want to get the glue on the ribbon. So use your needle or a toothpick or something to put just the slightest bit. You can always add more. Start, at the tip, or start at whichever works for you. This is your bottom. I'm hoping my camera will go long enough. If for some reason it doesn't, to fill it up with chocolate. And your little foil pieces. And like and subscribe and share this with your coworkers. They will be amazed. Your family will be amazed. They will love how cute this is. Show your neighbors. This is always, year-round, this is still always my favorite piece of all my miniatures. This is like in the tops. Okay, you might want to use your tweezers to grab a piece. And put it in place. Whoops. So try to keep your tops. Which is the top side and which is the bottom side. See, they're overlapping, but it doesn't show. Oops, I think that's... Yep. I think you see more netting on the back side. Okay, that one looks like it needs a tiny bit of glue underneath it where it joined up. There we go. Might need to put some more glue, but less is more. Just use your toothpick. Or your needle. So I think I have the back side again. See, there's netting. See the netting? It's, if you can see it, then that. If you see more netting, then that's the back side. Okay, this one looks like I'm gonna have to work it around there a little bit. Oops. Kind of hold it in place if it needs to. I always call that babysitting it. Might have to babysit it a minute to get it to go around. Oops, too much. Okay, just a little bit of glue there to grab it. Push it in place. Take your time. I'm racing because I don't want the camera to turn off. It seems like all my videos it turns off. If it does, I apologize, but we've gotten so far into this that you know what to do. You know to put, you've got your liner in here, you know to put your chocolates in. You've already seen that your top and bottom fit. I'm sorry I don't know how to do more. I didn't know how to even put a picture or a video up. I had never even taken a video before I got on YouTube in December. So I'm sorry I don't know more like how to download things, but maybe when I have a, I wanted to get things up for the holiday for y'all to enjoy, but I can't do both at the same time. But I'm going to learn editing, and then I'll be able to do things and share more and link things, and I just don't have anybody to teach me. Because I wanted to do YouTube a long time ago. Whoops. Okay, that caught on my nail. Pulled off. But I didn't have anybody to show me how to put videos up. Then when I started making my lamps, I was like, I've got to do something. I got to figure this out. Okay, so it looks like, you got to go slow and let this set and let it grab. My new glue is just not grabbing as well as if I'd used the Fabri-Tac. But my Fabri-Tac's at the point where it leaves all those strands. It's a good glue, but once it starts aging, it goes, okay, look at this. It just doesn't want to stick. It's just not gummy enough yet. It's always when you're in a hurry. Okay. So I'm about all the way around. How are y'all doing? And take your time, let it grab. Add a little more glue, let it grab. Don't be in a rush. Because when you're in a rush, you end up just doing over and over and over the same thing that if you had just gone slow and taken your time, you'd have done it one time. And here I'm doing it over and over. I want to show you something before we close out that's something to look for. If you want to make Valentine cookies, I may have found something that's, I can't tell what's right, front side from back side, but I guess that's a good thing. It means it all matches. Well, okay, so I'm not letting it set up enough. Y'all do that. Make sure you just go slow and use glue that's not brand new. Let me show you that right now while that sits for a second, because if I keep touching it, it's just going to fall off. I know y'all know what I'm talking about, where glue, it gets to the better stage and then it goes to a gooey, stringy stage, or can't get it out of the bottle stage. Okay, so what we've done, now we've got this outer part on. So all we're left with is the chocolates. But let me show you what I found to use, so you can go look for it too. These might be good for cookies. These are like Mardi Gras beads. I think I got them at Dollar Tree. And I was thinking that, I don't know if we need to put a sealer on them before you paint them cookie colors. But don't cut them apart until you know if you need to spray them with the sealer. But this is just a whole strand. And I believe I got it at Dollar Tree. So go and look and see if they still have them. Because they're really small. Let's see, what can I compare it with? See how small? They're like a 1/4 inch. So that's a good cookie size. Now I made this. I made a whole bunch of little cookies one year and put magnets on the back to make them little refrigerator things to give to friends. And it's funny because they didn't even know I made them. But see, it's the same size, little cookies. So if you can find these plastic ones, just need to see if they need to be sealed before we paint them cookies colors. This is a blister pack. This is what I want to teach next. But this is a throat lozenge blister pack. And I've got to go around and see if I can find one. This was from a few years back. And so it's just little heart shapes and flower shaped cookies inside of it. And you use, you buy this. These little doilies, silver or gold, whichever color you want. I noticed with the gold, see, it's all like wheels on the end, and then the silver, it's all solid. And when you use the blister packs, first you need to put down a solid piece on the foam. That's foam at the bottom, and you put the solid piece over it, or you can just put layers of the gold if you end up with the other kind. But it's really cute. Really sweet, dainty, cute. And if you see, here's what the blister pack looks like. And you're just putting it on foam. Like here's my dog medicine. If you saw my chemistry lab that I made out of trash plastic, this was the sink. See this? It was the sink. But that would work. And there's these tiny blister packs. You could put like maybe a couple of cookies in one. Again, your friends will be amazed when they see this. Your family, your friends. They also had these, I think, at Hobby Lobby. They're like, supposed to look like beer caps. And you could just put cookies in them. And just, glue the cookies down. Put a little doily on it. The little gold or silver. And then just put them in there. So anyway, we can do I have one blister pack. Just start looking for blister packs. They were throat lozenges at the H-E-B here. I don't know what brand. I don't even know where the box is. Now this is foam. The foam is at the bottom. And I think I glued 2 layers of that, like craft foam, sheets of craft foam. And so this one was to like put that little small blister pack. So see how, and then you have to cut this, circle the edge, go around the edge. But anyway, we're in a hurry. So this is a box. I was saying, once you learn how to do this Russell Stover box, you can make the sweetest little boxes. I made this like 20 years ago or whatever. You can see the glue's yellowed now. But I have like little hankies in it. So, and I made one for an anniversary gift, and these are cute, laying on your bed in your dollhouse. So once you get the concept down, you can make endless boxes for your boutiques and dress shops and for your bedroom. So there you go. Okay, so let's do some chocolates. I think this is safe to pick up. So like I said, you could just lay the brown paper around, or you could stick it around. You could cut it into just a brown paper. I kind of want to go slow with the chocolates. I don't want to rush through it. But I need this lace to dry more. So I'm just going to give you the concept here and let you work on yours. So you could actually take, like, you know, something with a not a needle tip, but something to shape the paper. If you punched out paper, like, shape it around the chocolate piece. I got glue on my fingers. Let's see. Okay. So, like, you're putting a chocolate piece in the paper. Let's glue one in there and see if it works. It's been so many years since I made this, I don't remember everything. So I guess you could glue them on to the paper punches and let them sit and dry. And then take them and fold it around. Fold the paper kind of around it. Oops, where'd it go? Fold it around it. Can you see that tiny thing? There is a piece of chocolate in there. See it shiny? And then take it with your tweezers and set it in there. And then set some light colored chocolate and some other dark color. Whoops, fell off. Some dark colors. And here's a little red ball. And here's a little gold ball. This didn't get small enough. It needs to be smaller. But just stagger them. You know, and you could do square pieces. There's a little square. It looks like a nougat. A square piece. You have your lighter chocolates. And your darker chocolates. Oops. That one wants to run away. Okay. So, you end up however you want to put it together, with purple foil or whatever colors you have and want to use. Whoops. And the different colors of chocolates. And there's your lovely top. And there you go. Thanks for coming and doing this with me. This was so much fun. I just love this miniature. It's like just one of my very favorites forever and ever. And so I'm glad I was able to share it with you. Please like and subscribe. Love to have you come back. I'm loading videos. I haven't even done the videos of my dollhouse. So you want to come back for that. I'm going to do room by room, I guess. So I've got a lot of room boxes. Still have about 4 or 5 that I haven't loaded. I put one on today. I'm working on. So look how cute that is. I hope yours went together just right. You didn't have to do anything over. And then the last thing, don't forget to sign your name. You made it. Sign your name to it. Today's date. Yay. So happy Valentine's, everybody. Thanks for coming by. This is Susan with My Mini Madness, and I so appreciate you coming and sharing this time with me. Thank you.